Thai restaurant.
I'm sorry. Forgive me. Forgive me.
Okay, y'all. Let's gather our attention for our special guest today. This is something we haven't done before during a fellowship meal. This is usually just a free-for-all of fellowship time. But this is actually something our council has talked about doing for a few different things, because there are different topics or community issues or conversations that we could have as a church family. And we thought that not every month, but on occasion, these meal times would be a nice time to have kind of a family conversation. And so we've invited our neighbor and friend, Mr. James Griffin, to be with us. Mr. Griffin has deep ties to the neighborhood that he'll tell you about. He also has pretty long connections to Prince of Peace, and has been involved here since way back at the beginning days of this place. So we're very grateful that he gave us time to be with us today. He's going to share some remarks, and then we can invite some questions and back and forth conversation time too. So let's give a hand, Mr. Griffin. Yeah, just stand right about here. That's perfect.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for inviting me to the church. Prince of Peace means a lot to me. I was born right here in the Warrensville community. We live right down the street on Doak Street. And Prince of Peace was a place we came as young children, 12, 13 years old, because they provided so many opportunities for us here in the community. As a matter of fact, Prince of Peace was the first time I ever went to the beach. Through Prince of Peace, you could see the ocean. It was also the first time I ever seen a mountain. It was from Prince of Peace when they took us to the mountains. So it has a big impact on me, and I'm very glad to be here. Like I said before, I was born and raised here. My mother, Constance Griffin, was the assistant director of the community center for over 25 years. And they named the softball field after her. If you see that when you ride down the street, Constance Griffin's field, that is my mother. She did a wonderful thing for the community, and so I'm here behind her. Well, I'm talking about Warrensville today because of it being Black History Month. It's important to know about Warrensville. Warrensville has a very unique history. It was the first planned community in the city of Greensboro. And when I say planned, I mean the land was purchased, the lots were set out, and it was organized. It was founded by a gentleman named Yardley Warren, who was a Quaker from Pennsylvania, and that was in 1865. Now, after he planned the community and he left and came back in 1890, he came back with a delegation from England so they could observe what was going on in his community. They left a gentleman named Yardley Harmon Humphrey in charge. So they asked him, what is the name of your community? And he just said Warrensville. So from that point on, it became Warrensville in 1891. As the years progressed, the community began to grow and became a safe haven for African Americans in America because of things called Jim Crow laws. You know, we couldn't do certain things, we couldn't go certain places, so we had to invent our own. And throughout the country, that same thing was happening. Like in the early 1920s, they had what they called the Great Migration. The Great Migration was a lot of blacks leaving the southern states headed north, but a lot of these people stopped right here in Greensboro, and they never left. And right in the 1920s, they were building the Jefferson Standard Building, so a lot of the people from the South got jobs in the Jefferson Standard Building, and they ended up staying. And I know that because that was my father's family's legacy, who were sharecroppers in Georgia, who moved to North Carolina in the 1920s. So that was another part of the history. But the biggest part of, I think, of our history in Warrensville is what we call redevelopment. As I said before, Warrensville was its own community, had its own stores, its own doctors, because we had no choice. But in 1949, the Federal Highway Administration came up with what they call redevelopment. And what they did, not only in Greensboro, but throughout the country, they developed the cities by putting highways through the cities, which was needed. But what they did was, they put all the highways, and most of them, on through all the black communities. So therefore, what we had built up all those years, and other places have built up all those years, it was destroyed. Not by bullets, but bulldozers. So the federal program that really hurt the struggles of the black community. We lost businesses, lost property, and there was a lot of construction of public housing in this area. So therefore, that's what we had left, and that's where we started from back in the 60s. So we had to pretty much rebuild Warrensville to what we are today. And some of our points of pride in Warrensville, which are quite a few. We were the first community in the city with the Greenway, which is right up here on the corner. We restored the Greenway. We were the first heritage community back in 2015. The city council approved our request to become the first heritage community. And the story about that is we wanted to be an historical community. So we went to the city and said, okay, we want to be a historical community. We have this, we have that. But they said, yeah, but none of the original structures are still there. So it's kind of hard for them to give us that designation. So I said, we just create our own. I mean, something special about this place. The man is still there, so we can come up with something that can, create this. So what we did, we worked with the city and the historical commission, and we came up with criteria for what is now a heritage community in Greensboro. We were the first, and Friendly, over there in Friendly, not Friendly, but Gifford College. They were the second heritage community. So we're very proud of that. Also in 2014, we created a museum, exhibit at the Greensboro Historical Museum about our community and all the things we've done and where we were. That museum won a state award and also won a national award. So that was in 2014 and 2015. Other things we've done in the community, we had a work with Greensboro Beautiful to plant trees throughout the neighborhood. And I don't know if you guys noticed this, but the trees that you have planted going across there in the front, that was part of our request that we put trees up here at Prince of Peace. And they said that was the first time that they have ever put trees at a private location. Because they usually just kind of do it for, I guess, public things. But we asked for the trees to be at Prince of Peace. I actually thought it was going to be all the same kind of trees.
That's all right.
But at least we got the trees. So those are some of the highlights of Warrensville. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them. And another thing that we do that we're very proud of, we have what we call the Warrensville Music Festival, which we have every Mother's Day up at the Warrensville Center, where we have food, music, festival. It's just a great gathering of people who used to live in the community and people who live here now. So that is one of the things that we do. Let's see, any questions? I'm open. Anything that you want to know?
I'm curious. I got to see the historical museum's exhibit. Do you think that'll come back at some point?
Well, it will come back. As a matter of fact, we're working with the museum now and the city to make that a permanent museum, or at least a permanent place, part of it at the museum. But our ultimate goal is to create a historical museum right here in the community. And hopefully when Warrensville Community Center has their renovations and what they do, hopefully we can place some type of historical museum within that structure. So it was really a nice nice event. Let's see what else I think.
Can you speak a little bit about the Warrensville Center and about the pool?
Yep. The Warrensville Center was actually built in 1959. So it was kind of right before redevelopment. It was built in 1959, and the pool came later in 1974. And the pool was named after a gentleman named, it was later named after a gentleman named Connie Rayford. And Connie Rayford was a very, I guess, advocate sports person. He worked with the YMCA, and he was pretty famous with what he did with the YMCA. So the pool in 1974 was opened up, and if you visit the pool lately, you'll see the mural on the pool. And we did that probably about 2017. And at one of the festivals, we had all the kids in the community actually paint those items that's on the pool. And that was done with Sunny Gravity and her group, Tab Arts. So that was a very, very unique event. Thank you for that. But this area used to be like farm area. Like I said, I lived down the street. My grandfather lived on the street, has cows and pigs, and it was just farm area. So my family was one of the few families that did not have to move away. So my family has been in this community since the late 1800s, all the way through. And we were able to stay because my grandfather owned his own land, and we just kind of moved down the street. Even though they tore down his house, and it was a big, beautiful house, but they wanted all the houses to be the same, so we just ended up moving down the street for 2 or 3 lots. Any other questions? Anything about Warrensville you ever wanted to know? I was afraid to ask. That's why I have Miss Pritchard here, so she keeps me straight. She's in my group, and one of the other things that we've done, let me go back a little bit. There was originally a group called Warrensville Neighborhood Association. I think Miss Pritchard was the founder of that group. Okay. And their job was to take care of the community, pretty much this area of the community. Back in 2008, when the city started the bicentennial programs, we actually created what we call the Warrensville Historical and Beautification Society. And our purpose was to work with local communities and public groups to highlight the heritage and the history of Warrensville. So that was in 2008. We had 2 groups going on. Otis Harrison was the president of the Neighborhood Association, and we started the Historical and Beautification Society. So therefore, we can really capture everything about Warrensville that we need to capture. So as we moved along, Mr. Harrison died in around 2012. He did a lot of good things for the community as far as making Warrensville kind of notice at that time. But he did die in 2012, so there was really a gap in what was going on in the community. And I was the president of Historical Beautification Society. So what we did was we combined the group and we became the Warrensville Community Coalition. So now we had not only the Neighborhood Association, but we had our historical component. And even today, we're expanding even more with the Warrensville Coalition by including the structure of churches. Like Prince of Peace is very involved in what we do. We have the Hampton Homes Association. We have the Southside group. So we all come together now as a group to really promote Warrensville. So thank you for that, Ms. Pritchard. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Can you say something about Early Miller, who was the first Black woman to be ordained in the LCA and was the pastor here?
See, I didn't know her as well, but I did know Cece.
Oh, yeah.
As a matter of fact, I kind of feel a little responsible for Cece. She was my neighbor. So I knew her family, and I knew her mother, and I remember Cece as a little girl. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I was truly shocked to find out all the things that she has done and accomplished, in this community and with this church. And I'm really, really, really so proud of what she's doing.
Yes. What are things that maybe we could plug into that we haven't? Here at the church, like what are the things that are going on that we should know about and maybe?
I really think the church has done an outstanding job in this community from day one, doing the things that you do. And with the introduction of the community garden, I mean, that actually started back in the early 2000s with UNCG and those types of things. And Cheryl, I know you were a part of all of that back in the day. But I think we're proud of the fact of the garden for the community, because we are a food desert.
Yeah.
And when we lost our stores and we lost all the things in the community, we didn't have fresh vegetables and places we could go. And so the community garden, to me, is a wonderful thing for this community. And I think Prince of Peace has really done great things in this community. I remember back in the day, they used to do Christmas caroling and just so many different things that they have done, and just a part of our community. I remember when Pastor Ryan came, I guess that was in the late 1960s. He was the first one, and we all gravitated here to this church, and this is where we were. Hunter was our counselor.
Yeah.
And, so it's been a great part of this community ever since. Yes. I can't think of nothing else you can do unless you want to take you some money. Well, what's good? J.C. Price. See, so many things. J.C. Price was founded in 1922, which was the only school over here that we actually could go to. And actually, J.C. Price was nationally recognized for some of the things that they did at that school. So 1922, but in I guess it was around 2000, it was, J.C. Price, going down and stopped, having classes. So it was kind of a abandoned building, just kind of sitting there. So I think it was Greensboro College came and wanted to buy the school. There was a lot of not confrontation, but a lot of conversation about what was best for the community. Some people wanted to keep the school and try to do something with it. Other people didn't want to sell the school, but we eventually sold the school. Not we, but they sold the school to, I think it was Greensboro College at first. And then Greensboro College ultimately sold it to Salvation Army. So basically, Salvation Army came in and did some good things for the community, and they're part of our coalition also, which was just an addition to what we were doing. And because of that, it made us even more diverse with the soccer field. I don't know how many of you guys look at that, but that soccer field is well utilized by a whole lot of people from different nationalities, and it is one of the signature points of our school.
And if you go into the lobby of the Salvation Army, they have a history display, right?
Right.
Yeah.
In the lobby of the, like I said, in the lobby of the Salvation Army, there is a historical display. It's mostly geared toward J.C. Price School and what they did, but it also has a couple of pictures in there about the community and how we were the first heritage community and through the city council. And so it's a good way to learn more about the community, even going through that. And that's one of the things that we wanted to do when we started the Historical Beautification Society, is that when people came into the community of different organizations, that we would like to be a part of what you're doing. And our purpose is to promote the history of our community to only enhance what you're doing. And the same thing is happening now at Carolina Steel. Now, Carolina Steel has been in the community for close to 100 years or 75 years. But what's going on now, they've created what they call the Steel House. And the Steel House is going to be a place for small businesses, community gardens, where you can sell your community garden things. So we're going to be a part of that by displaying the history of the community in the Steel House. So we try to work with any community, any group that comes into our community to enhance our history. So that's one of our purposes. Right. I tell you, so many things to do, so any more questions?
I was just gonna say, like, my child is now 31, but when they were 3, when they were 6 months, they started attending school at J.C. Price, but it was Project Uplift was housed in there. And my mother worked there, and my mother-in-law worked there as well. So, yeah, it was utilized for Project Uplift, and that was the best child development center ever. So, and just to see, you know, that this community has had so many of their ties and their historical buildings taken down. And the same thing with J.C. Price, but how the community remains resilient.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that is important. I think you always got to remember where you come from. And if you remember where you come from, you know where you're going to go. So that's one of our models too. Let's see what else did we do. Ms. Preacher, what else did we do?
Memorial Park.
Oh, okay. Just last year, we had a memorial park. We had a couple of grants from the Greensboro Arts Council. So we created some more new programs. We started a drum line up at the community center. We also had a ancestral park added to Sharona Pools Park. We founded that in 2008. But we also added more things to it through this grant that we had. So down there now is a nice path, sitting area. We also have historical information that's featured throughout the park. You would never know it exists unless you went down there. Yeah. And it's one of the most peaceful places in the community. You just go down there and sit, listen to the trees, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful place. So that was one of the things that we did. Something else we did, Ms. Bridget. We did the park, we did the drum line, and also I brought it.
The website.
Website, but we also did a cookbook.
Yeah.
We did a cookbook, and I'm going to have 100 copies up there next week, so that everybody can buy one. And see Miss Pretty when I do that. I'm just joking. But we do have a cookbook, and it tells about a little bit about our history. And the cookbook was done by these senior ladies of the Monroe Community Center. So yes, she's in that group right there. She's in the city. So that was about the cookbook, and Miss Prickett, she didn't know I was prepared. She said something about the website. So one of the other things we've been working on, we have a website now. And I think Prince of Peace is included in our website, along with, like I said, the Warrensville Community Center and other groups that we support to create that coalition of working together. So this has really been good. It talks about our history and also helps you navigate to other community venues around that you made an interest in.
Yeah. And Nala has been at the center of making the website happen, right?
Yeah, Nala Muhammad, who is God sent, is so wonderful for the community. Not only she did the website for us or works in our group with the coalition, she's also in charge of the farmers market up here and everything that's, so she's just, we're glad to have Nala. So she, we got big plans for Miss Nala. She don't know it yet. But I told her one day I saw I was gonna make her a superstar some kind of way. But, she's doing a wonderful job here in the community, and that's about it.
Thank you so much.
I hope that was informative.
Thank you very much, Mr. Griffin. We, our message today was Jesus says, love God and love your neighbor. And of course, neighbor can mean lots of different things, but y'all are our literal neighbors, our actual people that live around us. So we're really proud to be part of this neighborhood and be neighbors with you. So thanks for your time and for sharing everything. All right. Let's go.
Carry on.